So thank you so much for coming in such a big number. So today's panel on salary transparency is hosted by Monica and myself, Ljubica. We are a part of ABIT. Actually, Monica's the CEO and I'm the senior recruiter. And we are shortly your go-to partner when it comes to game dev recruitment. Both Monica and I are real lucky to have an amazing lineup of guests. So today with us, we have Nika Darovska, independent consultant and also an HR consultant at Crunching Koalas.
Hello, very nice to see you all.
Yeah, Nika. As you mentioned, this is your first public outing since giving birth. How do you feel?
It's my first time when I'm able to talk to adults in a year. So
awesome, awesome. We also have Slavomir Bubel, CEO and co-founder at Metabu. Also co-founder at Black Drucker Games. Lukasz Hatsura is with us. He's the CEO and head of Anshar Studios. Give it up for him as well. And lastly, Bartosz Moskala, founder at Imagine Pro. So, okay, so it seems that we are all ready to dive into this data-driven chat about salary transparency in game dev industry. So why is it such a big deal? Shortly, I would say that salary transparency is important because it's all about fairness and it's all about trust. It does not come without its challenges, and the six of us are here to unpack that. Okay, I'm going to take this as a good sign that it's going to be a great discussion. Okay.
I just want to mention as a side note that actually lots of CEOs and HRs refuse to be on the stage and discuss salary transparency in their studios. So honestly, lots of brave people here that show their faces, and yeah, kudos to you guys. So jumping to the data, we anonymously asked exactly 331 people in game dev the following question. Why do you think the game development industry generally lacks policies on transparent salary ranges? And this is how they replied. So over 41% of people think that existing salary ranges are unstructured and people at the same level are not paid equally. Almost 18% of people think it's the fear of causing dissatisfaction among lower paid employees in their studio. Almost 60% think it's a desire to maintain flexibility in salary negotiations. Over 8% say it's concern about creating tensions among employees, especially the ones that are not paid, the same as their colleagues. 5% said it's concerns about revealing salary structures to competitors. 4.5% is the lack of awareness about the benefits on salary transparency. As you see, 6% of people choose other, which basically means they use this option to write their own more elaborate opinion or answer. So although the answers were pretty much aligned, we chose some of them for you. So, for example, many devs do not know their worth. By hiding the salary ranges, they can more easily get people to agree to extremely low pay, especially expats. They want to pay less to people that don't know their value. Existing salary levels are unstructured, and people at the same level are not paid equally. Then my favorite personal, being ashamed of the difference between the IT and game dev. And I think it's fear causing dissatisfaction among lower paid employees and lack of awareness about its benefits.
We also reached out to the other side, so we conducted a survey among our recruitment and HR game dev network to see how they felt about this, and were the reasons for keeping salary ranges secret true. So, but actually, as you see, just nearly 20% actually of the companies opt to publicly display their salary ranges, and almost 60%, so almost like 2/3 of them actually said that a company policy or company tradition is what is actually keeping these salaries secret. So what do our guests think about all of this?
So I'm jumping to questions right now. So maybe my first one will be Nika, our only one here. So Nika, from your viewpoint, what are the primary benefits of keeping salaries confidential? Because still lots of studios choose that way.
Like at the beginning, I would like to ask, when I first saw your form, there was lack of one answer. All answers are correct. So I will,
Yep.
for 100% choose that, because from my perspective and from my experience, different companies have different like importance of this all stages. But when you're asking what is the most important or the strongest thing to hide it, I think it's fairness of losing like very good talents from the company, because a few years ago, I think that the biggest companies, the biggest game dev studios in Poland start kind of salary war, and started to offering like salaries to experts from another companies, which are higher than internal salaries in the companies. You can kill me right now. I'm not working for any studio, so I can tell all of my experience from inside. So yeah, from my perspective, that is the most important thing. And yeah, don't want like each studios don't want to lose their talents. And of course, there is lack of talents on the market. So we are trying to keep our talents and to hire more and more experts.
Okay, thank you for that. Maybe I'm going to ask also one of our gentlemen about it. Łukasz or Przemek, like, why do you think, talking about the benefits of hiding the salaries, what do you think the biggest one are?
So the big question for me, because this is maybe not super transparent here, is that there's a difference between keeping it secret in-house and also keeping it a secret in your job offers, because those are kind of two different things. And for example, I don't like posting transparent salary offers outside, and the reason for that is, and like we do it not for all our job offers, but the reason is because salary is only one KPI, right? There are different types of contracts. Like nobody in this industry, maybe except programmers, but no, basically nobody understands how taxes work, how medical care works, how, what's the difference between gross and net. Artists invented even a type of net, which is net to my hand. So it's net after I pay taxes, right? So like and the reason, and then you post your salary, right? Like, hey, this is our offer. And somebody says, our offer is higher. Yeah, but you have no paid leave or no paid medical leave, like, for example, right? Because not all salaries are employment agreements, right? Which would be easier, actually. Some of them are B2B, right? And there are so many nuances to that you want to talk about it during an interview, right? Not, you won't explain that in a job offer. So that would be one of the reasons that I would that I have a concern while being transparent outside. Inside, like, all the answers were there, or were obviously bad answers. Why would you keep that a secret, right? I think it's stupid to do that. It actually hurts you in the long run as a company owner. But those are valid reasons. There were many companies, we were one of them back in the day, that are big discrepancies depending on when did you hire, at what moment in the industry you hired, right? And there were difference, like you mentioned, the salary wars. Like, for example, you were out for a year, right? Right now, there's shitload of talent out there. A year ago,
I know they are writing to me and ask for a job.
So, for example, right now, talent availability is not a problem, right? But 2 years ago, it was a huge problem. So, depending on when you hire, you could like negotiate differently. And this, for example, I think it's good for you to have like salary transparency, because then you have consistency on your side, right? It actually also protects you. But if you already are like 6 years, 7 years down the road of that, the company tradition of unequal pay, let's say, then it's sometimes very costly to even that out. It took us actually a couple of years to dig out of that hole, to like fix inequality, let's say, right? So I think that's the biggest reason not to do it, but you should.
I can tell only +1 because I was the person who tried to explain how taxes work to many employees from Poland and other countries. So yeah, that is very difficult. And fun fact, people inside of the companies, even when they are in the company for 5 years, they still don't understand it.
Okay, I would be actually interested to hear the answer from Sławek because I know that at Matabu you actually disclose the numbers on your website in job description. So if I can ask you for a comment on that.
I would say I have totally opposite situation in Anshar, I believe. I wasn't aware of it, to be honest. We don't have internal, written boundaries of the salaries. It doesn't mean we don't have that. It's like just listed anywhere. I have it on the people that should have an access to that, like including me. We have internal, let's say, all the salaries, all the how long someone is working in the company, since when, how many rises were on the way, where we are, and there we are trying from the very beginning to be like a fair. So it's like there are boundaries. So if there's like and we have like those boundaries listed on the post on the job offer. So if there's like as you mentioned, previously, like big talent, and it's his or her is out of that boundaries, like he's great or she's great and it's much more expensive, I will not hire. I mean, it will be unfair for the people that are working there, but he's great, like I don't care. We have like 70 people on board. I will not be risking with the one solo guy who is like he is maybe worth it, but the whole company is more worth it than the one guy in the end. Sorry for that.
Thank you, Sławek. Bartek?
I think it's also very important to tell maybe the audience that we have different company sizes and our backgrounds are
very
different. Like, so maybe I will just let me say that I represent sort of, I think, the smallest of entities here in terms of employees. So me coming from a background that we were sort of always forming a garage rock band was the most important thing for me was not to disrupt that environment. So maybe that's one of the reasons that can happen, that if there is an external threat, then it might make me consider to protect this group first, and then coming from the... Okay, so that's what I wanted to add.
So that's one thing. And another thing, it's like every time we are hiring someone new, and obviously we are having those boundaries on the job offer. We are checking if that's something that's related to what we have actually. So it was like, hey guys, I just saw that you're looking for a junior, and the offer is twice as much I get for the last 4 years. Like, it shouldn't be junior for 4 years, anyways. But you know what I mean. And that's, so we are checking if not that case. That regarding the changes on the market, we see it. It means that recently we have a lower boundaries, like 2 years ago, but still we are showing that on the market.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm actually happy we disagree on the stage, not just pat each other's back and all agree. Jump to the next question, Ivica.
Awesome. So I actually wanted, so you already mentioned, all of you, some of the challenges that you were or actually are still facing when it comes to implementing salary transparency. So Lukasz, you said that it took you a couple of years, of really hard work to assure that all pay ranges within the company internally are well adjusted. You mentioned first, like the lack of talent in the market, then the abundance and how it actually changes this. You mentioned this internal dissatisfaction that may come. So I wanted actually to ask you, what other concerns do you have when it comes to implementing salary transparency, and also what is it that you do or that companies can do to actually mitigate these concerns, like to work around them?
I have a question. The salary transparency, to what degree? Like a list of all the employees with their salaries, or that's the position of a senior someone. That's kind of the salary you get. How detailed is the salary transparency here?
It's illegal for you to actually display individuals' salaries, but it's legal to say that, I don't know, like the salary band for a senior game dev programmer is from X to Y. So I think this is the transparency we're talking about.
All right.
Both internal and external as well.
So yeah, I can answer to that because this is what we have. Actually, I learned that yesterday that this is what we have. I'm a great CEO. Why? Because what I thought is that we have salary ranges for positions on departments. So every department has an access to, hey, a designer at this and this position, this is how I learned, but you know that only if you are a designer. If you're a QA, you don't know the ranges for the designer. That's what I thought I have. But then apparently we updated our how's regula mean? We updated,
Internal regulations?
Yeah, we updated some documentation, and actually you can dug that out of a Confluence, and everybody has access to that, right? I didn't know that. So yeah, we have total transparency. Yay! But one of the reasons that I thought we don't have total transparency at Onshore is I regularly saw a problem. It's better now. It's better now, I think, in 2024. But if you go back like 10 years, there were huge differences, for example, programmers versus the rest of the world, right? If you go back like 15 years, it went like, QA is the lowest paid, right? It's still like this, but QA. Then it was design for some reason. Designers we paid the least right after QA. Then it was art. Then it was nothing, and programmers, right? So
and that's PMs? I forgot about PMs.
There were no PMs 15 years ago. So at least at the companies that I worked, like who needed a producer? So, but then it changed. First of all, the designers had a bump, right? And they kind of grew into the artist, let's say, range, right? Suddenly, who would have thought game design is important when you're making a video game? And actually, everybody's salaries rose. And programmers also, obviously also, but the curve was less steep, right? So like everybody a little bit catch up, still, except QA. I don't know how that works, but it's really shitty. And one of the reasons that I have a problem with transparency is like you see those ranges for the programmer and you see those ranges for QA, and you're like, your internal moral compass says like there's something wrong here. I mean, this is the market. We're not like paying below the market, but you're like, something's wrong here, right? And then you have those QA people who are saying like, we're carrying those dipshits. It's like we're telling them what to do, right? They're making all those mistakes and they're paid so much more. So that was one of the reasons that you have those like silos, like people don't actually fully understand what it means to be other specialty. So there's this like silo effect that, hey, we are being, mistreated as a group, right? So this is something we faced. But apparently, since yesterday, we're not, or what, I don't know.
Yeah, actually, I was checking our internet table yesterday, just, like how unfair we are. Like, it was better than I thought.
Nika, Bartosz, do you have anything to add on this?
Think when it comes to discrepancies, and this is something that we are also made painfully aware at one point. So I always, because I was the one who did all the recruiting, and I was responsible for every person that I hired in my company since forever. So I sort of had to, deal with it myself, but also I know that I have my limits. So I then, knew that I had to go search for external help, and did pay audits to make sure that we have a more fair situation. But yeah, like with some, I checked yesterday how are we faring with that, and yeah, I think it's not that bad. Yeah.
From my experience, it's like it depends how big is the studio if it comes to share the salary ranges, and I think when you are smaller, you need to prove that you are paying. Like if you are bigger, you are putting the job description, like offer and the job description, and if you are creating Witcher or I don't know, Dying Light, people want to join you because it's like the big company for sure. They're paying equal from like candidates' perspective, and when you are smaller, they are afraid. Okay, is that company for sure has money to pay me and pay me equal, and will it be fair? So. As a smaller studio, which is I consulting right now, so we are sharing the salary ranges, and it's not like visible for all of the company, like all the ranges, just exactly to the job offer, but we are sure, totally sure, before we post those job offer that we are fair. We are counting, as Sławek said before. Is it fair to our employees? But people did not read job descriptions, even if the salary ranges are there. So we are very, very disappointed after that, because we are sharing it, inviting people to interview, and after that, it's like, oh, you have like salary ranges in a job offer, really? I didn't remember that. So then I ask myself, is it really important or not? I know it is important, but after hearing that somebody didn't read the job description, it's like,
Or it's like, I sorry, I don't remember exactly. I just sent over, my offer to several companies. I don't remember your description. Like,
yep.
perfect approach. Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, that's a good hire.
You got that job.
Yeah. But still we'll fight with that, and we'll try to be transparent. I think those salaries should be in a job description, but I think when you have a kind of website which aggregate job descriptions and salary ranges, it's like, okay, gameplay programmer from 15 to 20, apply without any reading. And when it's inside the job offer, it's invisible. Like there's no inside.
Okay, but I think it's a joint effort. I think, just because people aren't reading it does not mean that we as like recruiters or HRs, should not be, should not be posting it. So can you, maybe like discuss any personal experiences or observations where actually salary transparency or lack of it directly impacted, the company, the team dynamics, or individual career paths? So earlier we were grabbing some data on, companies who decided to go public with their salary ranges, and them, reporting reduced turnover rates, hiring more efficiently, and getting actually great feedback from the candidates themselves. So maybe Lukasz and Sławomir, could you share any experiences?
I can
of
share
your
a
own?
bad experience. Bad experience
Later.
always
Good.
better.
All
I have
experiences
bad
are
experience
welcome
as well.
here.
Yeah, because
I have
if
good-
I'm gonna say that, hey, we're this awesome
Bad
company that handled it super smoothly, etc., it's not fun, right? So between 2021 and 2022, there was this post-COVID boom, and basically people said, oh, so we're not dying, and remote work is a thing, right? So I can work from like a shitty village in Poland, and I can work for Los Angeles, right, for a big salary. And that actually happened at our company once. So exactly that cities. And the thing is that suddenly there was this, like, in Poland in 2022, I think that the inflation was like 16%, right? And like, it's not 16%. At our company is 40% inflation, right? In terms of like making sure that we're not losing talent, etc. And it started trickling down in 2021. And we couldn't keep up with what was happening at the market. And there were people there, good people that we have lost just because they felt unfairly treated, right? It's like, hey, so I was under this COVID rock, right, earning this. Now I looked from under it and I look at this beautiful world and hey, Anshar is not paying me what I'm worth, apparently, right?
In San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, no, but in total fairness, I think we obviously there were constraints, like market constraints from our side. It's not like we suddenly started earning 40% more, right? It was not the case. But I think that because of that, we lost a couple of really good people that it might have been in another scenario avoided, right? And it was usually the case of, and that's the saddest part, it was usually the case of people that we have brought up, because somehow that's how it works. If you brought up a person from a junior, right, and their entire career is at your company, for example, for 6 or for 7 years, right, they get regular raises, but somehow that's how the world works. I don't know. If you come from the outside, you usually, even if you're in the ranges, right, you tend to get in the higher bounds of those ranges, right, and it's unfair. And if you have like systems that check that from the not from the feeling perspective, but from actual numbers, now it's much easier. I'm sure we can check the data. That's good, right? But in 2021, 2022, I think because of that, we lost a couple of good people.
Yeah, so from my perspective, we don't have system. I'm personally hiring every person.
You're the system.
I'm the system, yeah.
AI Sławek.
Yeah, it's like, no, as I said, I was personally hiring everyone in the company from the very beginning. So I'm trying to have like a persistence and see, of course, there's some, as you said, there's some people, like, especially if you have ranges in offer, people tend to, most of them, they were reading descriptions from my perspective, but they seen only upper range. So you got a person that it's on really below that she or he thought that that's the level of experience, but he sees just the upper boundary, and it's like, wow, and it's pretty difficult to hey, you are not so good as you thought.
Anchored already, right?
Yes, somehow like this. Sometimes it's like there are some. That's one of the problems. Like it's on a meeting. It's not earlier. Sometimes it's like the boundaries have another like ranges have some other problem. For example, like you are looking really on the artist, some great artist or some great I don't know talent on a programmer wise, and the boundaries are you could pay that person a little bit more, but because there was like upper bound, I don't know, like 20,000, and wow, and I feel I should have like 23. So I will just not add, I will not answer that email, and we miss that person. We don't even know that he thinks like, well, they are not paying so much. On a meeting, definitely we'll be able to offer something, but we don't even know we are losing that person. We are not aware of it. So that's another problem. I remember I had a bad experience back then. It was kind of around the salaries, like years ago, I don't know, 15 more, like 10, 20 years ago. There was about bonuses internally, maybe not salaries. That was like end of the project. And there was like some, I don't know, 200 zloty. Back then was something. And there was, at least for me and the rest of the artist guys, I was 3D artist. And there was one new guy. He was, I don't know, from the very beginning of the project that he was learning. I was teaching him how to, do some stuff. And in the end, all of us got like 200 zloty and he got 100. And because why I just got 100 zloty as a bonus. And they could answer whatever, including like, you were like later in the project, you're not performing so great, whatever. And they answer like, because you are new. And the guy ultimately stopped to work normally, like he was like, the lowest effort ever. I would kind of connect with the salaries because sometimes if you have like an affair, and you, for example, list the boundaries, and someone realizes he's underpaid, not even like to connect with those, San Francisco or LA, whatever, But to I don't know, your colleague from the same, I don't know, the other side of the table, that may feel, hey, I was cheated for years. So that's something that you should kind of take care of for years, like to don't have that situation.
Thank you so much, guys, for your answers. So right now, actually, at this point, I wanted to give everyone like a very long story short, major bullet points overview regarding the EU directive that will be effective in June 2026. And that's actually deadline for EU members, including Poland, to implement it. So there are like two major tools to basically that will be introduced by directive. One of them being, first of all, pay transparency. The second one being employees' right to information about salaries in the company. So employers will be obliged to report on a pay gap between female and male workers. And it's really important to understand that pay does not only refer to monthly salary, but also like all the bonuses, like, I don't know, car, company, like company car, health insurance, gym, free meals, like really whatever. And this is like a very, very long story short. And for more detailed information, just feel free to approach our booth at any moment. We're trained by lawyers, so we can feed you with more details, or like download a Hangout available also on our website. And having that in mind, I'm actually giving my voice to you, Bita.
Well, yes, having all that in mind, so having in mind that the EU Pay Transparency Directive will be implemented in June 2026. So yeah, it's just around the corner. We already have like similar laws being enforced in the US. So with all this legislative efforts regarding this salary transparency, how do you actually envision that the conversations around it will evolve?
Maybe I will start. Okay, so I think heading into a right direction for sure, because the current state, I think, of our industry is a bit lacking, and we are in a very peculiar, sad position right now where people get laid off at a very high tension. So I think, in speaking from a very broad perspective, if this can help people get into more secure environment, then I think every obstacle that is along the way to be come over by companies and employers, that it is worth it for sure.
I think that it would help a bit. I watched a lot of movies on YouTube from US, trying to understand how was the impact in US with the directive about transparency in salary. So I think in Europe we have different problems than they had in US, but they said that okay, it helps, but it's not that they didn't have any problems right now because they have transparent salaries. It's not like that, and I think that we need to focus like being fair inside of the companies. And this is the most important thing, to check the salaries, to check if we have similar specialists, even if in different projects, if we pay them equal. And that's the most important thing. That's the job for HR, that's the job for CEOs, that's the job for leads, for producers. Of course, if they have visibility in salaries. It will help, but you know, I'm a little bit like I'm not that optimistic, because a lot of time I try to build the salary ranges in different companies, and of course we check information in the market, how the job description looks, what are the people's how. Oh my God!
Expectations.
Yeah, and how much people want to salary have, like, sorry. when you see the salary ranges in some job offer, like it's between 15 and 25, for me, it's the most stupid thing, because okay, we are fair because we posted our salary ranges, but we forgot to tell you that we don't have junior specialist, senior experts. We put everything to one box, and we share you those ranges, which are not true actually, because if you don't have experience and we don't put it into the job description, we are not pay you 22, and you will send us information that this is your requirement.
But we are covered.
Yeah. And then those people came to us, our employees, and said, "Oh, you are not paying equally, because they post right now job offer for a gameplay programmer, and they are paying from 15 to 22, and you pay me only 15. That's not fair from the company." Yeah. So for me, it will help, but not so much.
Łukasz?
Yeah, I think it's bullshit. I mean, not what you said, the regulations. You're always saying smart things. No, it's, I think it will, I agree, but I'm even more pessimistic, right? I mean, if a company wants to circumvent that, they will. The company needs to be willing to change inside, right? And, you know, we're Polish, most of us here are Polish, right? We don't like regulations. It's like we're rebels. It's like screw the government and everything. It's like, so this is not the way to like enforce fairness, right? From my perspective. So, for example, I look at that and I'm like, yeah, well, technically we're right now we're doing it, right? So nothing changes for Ansher Studios. But
Same here.
But the question is, like, for example, if you want to circumvent that, right? Like, I will not name the company, but during this big exodus and this big changes in 2022, when the talent availability was very scarce, right? There were companies that they had salary ranges, right? They had their what they expected from on different levels from their specializations, right? But the talent was not there, so suddenly a person who was clearly an advanced junior, like almost a specialist, like almost mid-ranged, got, for example, senior positions, right? Just so that, hey, we need to hire somebody, right? And obviously it degenerates your company, right? But it's like a short-term solution. You can circumvent that, right? Or like, for example, we tried to hire an executive producer for, I think, like 2 years now. And what the hell even it means to hire? Like, who is an executive producer? Like, really, like executive producer of a 10-person simulator company, right? Versus an ex-CDP executive producer of Cyberpunk, for example, right? And this is the same job description on the website, right? But the one person is happy with 10,000 zloty and the other person is like 30,000 zloty. Are you kidding me? This is peanuts, right? And so how to explain that? That hey, we're looking for neither of those, right? We're not looking either for this one or this one, right? And so the devil is in the details. How much, and Ansher still has a long work here. Like our head of HR and all our heads of departments actually have our hands full with how to actually properly develop systems, like in terms of career paths. Like a senior at Ansher means this, right? Not that our head of tech thinks he's a senior, right? It's like, no, what can you actually tell somebody what it means to be a senior? What are the expectations?
Thank you,
and
guys.
is it fair?
Yeah.
And it's never-ending story.
Okay, actually, Nika, since you're the only HR here, I have a question just for you. So for those companies or like studios or CEOs that are opposed to salary transparency at any degree, what alternative strategies might companies actually implement to ensure fair compensation? Which is still the case, I think, in Poland, that in some places it's not.
Like for the first, I think it will be regulation for all our industries, because if we will have those game development regulations, what means junior, what means senior, what means expert, and to those positions we will add those salary ranges. It will be much easier, and I think it will curse those problems which like address Łukasz before. So that's the most important thing. Few years ago, we had some form, and we are trying to check the salaries between companies. And there was big description, what does it mean? And there was some points for each position. And later on, we tried to make it easier, and we resign from it. And after resigning from it, and after aggregate information from different studios, okay, in our studios, junior had that kind of salary, senior have that kind of salary. It was like bullshit data. Like we cannot do anything with that because even if we know that it was the information from Warsaw studios, and those studio has between 100 and 200 employees, great, but like if we don't know about the project inside, if we don't know about scale inside, those information is bullshit, and we can check it like, oh, nice to know, but it's not the actually sword in those war, like or like it's not helpful for us to do. So if we until we don't have those like straight information about each position, I think it's we will still have the same situation right now. So that's the most important from my HR
Thank you so much.
perspective.
Thank you so much, Nika. Since we're running out of time, Lubitsa will jump to the very last
Yes.
question.
Okay.
So finally, could each one of you actually propose, one actionable step that the stakeholders, the companies, the executives, the employees, could take to address, the concerns surrounding salary transparency?
Okay, so maybe I will start. First of all, if the company want to implement something, want to change something. If not, it's like, yes, it's bullshit. You can have a lot of regulation. If someone doesn't care, doesn't care. I think it's a good guidance. So even though we're preparing for that meeting, I was checking. Okay, so where we are lacking, maybe you should make more straightforward how to be promoted, written it somewhere. Maybe some price ranges internal, salary ranges internally, that kind of stuff. And I think that it will be maybe pretty naive, but it would be great if you are just about the money. I mean, as an owner of a company, you probably don't want to implement that. If you're about the people, you will find something out. But if you are if someone has approached I will not tell people, I want them, keep them working not underpaid because it's fine for me. We can have a lot of regulation, doesn't mean nothing. That's my opinion.
Thanks. Bartosz?
I think we need to hold each other within the industry accountable. People will self-regulate also. If you are a bad employer, it will come back to you one way or another. So if there are some companies that haven't learned it already, then I think they're doing something very, very wrong, or they are not aware of it yet. So I think I would encourage everyone to stay very proactive on that, on both sides, not only the company holders, but because we make mistakes as well, guilty of many of those. So I think the more aware we are together as a gaming industry, that will help. Yeah.
Thank you. And a short advice from Nika and
I always prefer team-driven companies, and I think the most important is to start from the inside and fix everything what we have inside, because our people are the most important, and then focused on what we are sharing with the market. That's all.
So if somebody doesn't have salary transparencies, they can do what we did back in the day when we also didn't have it, is like start from internal salary ranges that you would like to have, share them only with top management, and see where you're at, where, you know, there's going to be red lights popping up. Okay, we need to fix this, we need to fix this. What is the 2-year plan to fix this, for example, giving raises to these people? And then when you're all green, bam, you introduce salary transparency. Like, hey, we're fair, right? So it took us about 2 years to straighten that up.
Thank you so much, guys. And again, I think a round of applause for those 4 people that decided to come on this stage, because lots of people decided not to show up here and very straightforwardly said that did not feel comfortable about discussing salaries in their companies on a stage. Guys, so now we have a few minutes for Q&A session. So are there any questions from the public?
So just a short challenge for you. Like, what do you think would happen if you just, well, avoiding the GDPR and RODO, took the list of your employees and just posted internally their salaries? What would happen?
This is illegal. They can sue. I can answer.
Let's say that they agreed. Let's say that they agreed. What would happen? They wouldn't, I guess. They wouldn't.
Let's assume that it's according to law, yeah? Which is not.
Yes, that was the question.
Probably someone will think like, wow, why I'm not a programmer?
I can tell you, I did it with my team in one company, and I was really surprised, positively surprised, because people from different positions suggest rises to their colleagues. And that was very nice, because I as a lead, cannot see everyone in every situation, and it was very nice because their colleagues tell me the situation and why they or she or he could get the rise. That was really nice.
I really think both of those things would happen. Actually, I do. I'd be like, why this person doesn't earn more, and why I'm not a programmer? Yeah.
And I think that as a thought process, as a food for thought, like, you know, that in a very healthy team, I think nothing could happen. Like, so that's a sort of this, you know, benchmark of if you are doing things fine, then you wouldn't have like an eruption of disgruntlement.
Actually, you may have people will be able to compare it probably with with colleagues with other companies. Like, oh, so in overall in our company, that's the kind of level, like average or maybe state level of salaries. And I heard the company, I don't know, WWE, whatever, they have like lower or bigger salaries. Or let's say you have like such kind of information in other company as well. It's like, wow, I thought that a big company is paying more, which is not case. That could be.
Okay, I think that we have time for just one more question from the audience.
Thank you for your debate, and I want to ask a question about the differences between salaries for each department. Do you think it comes from like an objective where that this department is less important for the development of the game and this department is more important, or are these specialists as a collective are doing something wrong, like they just don't value themselves enough, so this is why they're paid less?
I'll try to kind of answer, maybe. It's difficult. It's a mixed bag of reasons. One is like availability of talents. I think that's one thing. If you are, I don't know, looking for a special effects artist and you don't have one in Poland, it makes problems. Yeah, you tend to find someone for a higher salary. That's one thing. Another thing is how your company is structured in terms of income. If you are getting money mostly on I don't know, programmers' work, they are getting money for you. And if you have like, I don't know, random guy who is like just pizza cutter, probably he's not getting rises every year. That's sorry, but that's the way it is. I believe. I don't think another thing is like market in overall. Like if as like 2 years ago, if that you have to use like a big, I don't know. Money to just kind of chop someone from the other company, and it's still within your price range, and to have like a really good paid project, you will, and you are, near the wall, you will probably do that, or maybe not, because you think like, well, I have that guy for like a big money, and the rest of the team will know, they will know, and you will have like problems, or if you are a nice person, you will, even without you will know that it's not fair. So yeah, I would say definitely in our company that person who is like tidying up our office definitely gets less than the IT guy, but that's the way it is.
Okay, thanks for.
+1.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to remind everybody, if you are interested in the EU Pay Transparency Directive, that you can get the handout, stop by our booth, and also we're more than open to chat about it with you. I would like to get like a really big round of applause for our guests. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your honesty in this debate.